Hello everyone, I am Crawlers and yes, your eyes aren't deceiving you. I really am playing Black Ops 3 Beta. Now, I wanted to try to make something of it since a friend gave me the key and I'd never buy this Call of Poopy myself because me, I'm very much against God, and frankly this game reminded me just how much I am against God. And for any non-Russian speakers out there, Kal actually means poop in Russian, so it all works out. Now, time was Call of Duty used to stand for something. I think it was a great PC game. Uh, in the times of COD 4, it played great, and it also stood for a bit of social commentary, and the campaign tried to be something, serious. And in fact, I know many of you Battlefielders, myself including, we came over from COD into Battlefield just because we started hating it so much, what COD has become. And today I think it's lost all of its character, and it's kind of turned into this arcadey shooter, built for little kids, oriented towards consoles, and outside of some futuristic textures and decals, it really hasn't changed in a very, very long time. And everything is the same year in, year out, even if they are developed by different studios like, I don't know, Sledgehammer or Treyarch. And as far as PC-oriented FPS, this, most certainly is not. And before I get into Black Ops 3 in this video, let me just preface this by saying I am playing on the PC, obviously. I do not have a console. And, PC usually holds FPS games to a higher standard, as we are accustomed to higher graphical fidelity, higher FPS, no auto aim, and no assists, and so on. Having said that, this game is obviously heavily oriented towards consoles, and don't let the field of view slider in the main menu fool you. This is a console port, and the bad one at that. And uh, the logic seems to go like this, when they come out with a new COD game. They make a shitty COD PC port, no one buys it, which shows, low sales on PC. The publisher says, why bother with PC, and orients towards consoles, rinse and repeat on a yearly basis. Now, this is still the same COD with abilities and characters. You can now choose, each character having an ability that you can activate when you reach a certain point goal. There's usually a defensive and an offensive ability you can choose from, like the ground pounder thing I had quite a bit of fun with, or the vision ability. There's obviously, score streaks, which have been unchanged for years and years now, pretty much. One of them being these tumbleweeds on steroids, or explosive things that basically work like dogs roaming around the maps and blowing people up. And I was actually found out that the hard way that they were not friendly. And honestly, the best thing that I can say about this game right now is that now you can see your feet, and for the first time in COD, I believe, unless I missed some previous COD before it. And now you have these voting animations that basically work as they did in Battlefield 3 years ago, where you, have to jump over something like over a window sill or something like that, and you do this voting animation. Oh, and also by popular demand, it seems, from previous COD games, now when you've been EMP'd, or sort of your electromagnetic interference, as it's called now, works, and you have to reboot your HUD, so to speak, your red dot sight also goes out, which I think was a funny little uh, feature in all CODs that they missed before it, but is apparently implemented into this one. And other than that, there's really nothing good to say about Black Ops. I mean, even giving credit for to it that it's still a beta, it's really hard to come up with anything new about it because it's really the same stuff being recycled over and over. And now the game again goes back to the now familiar theme of jetpacks and double jumps, which Titanfall seems to have made so famous because it had the advantage of being, the first in that line before COD Modern Warfare 3. I think it was, followed suit with it. I must say though that Titanfall's parkour seems to be a lot more fluid than Black Ops 3, and the wall runs here, which, well, possible to pull off, are not as easily connected or initiated, and the game still does a good job of keeping you agitated and coming back for more, with constant action, just as all CODs do, but before it. So, if you are an adrenaline junkie, then buy a COD game on a console and enjoy the fanboy erection. Otherwise, if you're on part of the PC master race, you best skip this COD and just, wait for Titanfall 2, which is probably what I'm gonna do. But needless to say, I wasn't gonna purchase this COD anyway. And I think it's kind of a dick move that they are not giving away the beta for free, and that they're only giving it away to pre-order to people who pre-order the game. I think that's a bit of a dick move because betas are supposed to be free. Whatever you say, they are kind of like the beta testing for the game, except they are not paying the public to play. So why ask the public to pay for just the privilege of finding the bugs in a pre-released game? I think that's kind of sucks and speaks a lot to the Activision mentality that's been going on over the years. Okay, well, now let's get into why there is I was saying that this is such a bad console port, even though for us PC Master Race players, they added things like, mouse sensitivity sliders, although not one for ADS and a different one for hipfire, like some other games out there. Well, Battlefield 4 is a good example, which has a ratio slider for, your mouse sensitivity when ADSing and when hipfiring. And, a bunch of graphical settings that they've added, like the resolution scaling, and ambiguous as this setting is, it's basically a higher or lower number of pixels multiplier depending on your resolution. So if you set your resolution to 1920 by 1080, let's say, a 0.5 resolution scaling will literally show half of that set resolution, 1920 by 1080. It will literally show half those pixels. And Battlefield 4 also has this somewhat useless function, as it strains your GPU, and an already beautiful game like Battlefield 4 becomes a little bit better looking. This option is obviously for future use, for a publisher that hopes that the game will still be relevant, when played years and years into the future with better monitors and faster graphics cards. And ironically, CODs seem to release a new game every year. So there's that. But the game is bad because of the very nature of how it works. Besides it actually being yet another COD, which, with even more of the same basic gameplay and graphics and bad, just flat sounds and very few players. The biggest problem probably is that the mouse sensitivity is the biggest issue plaguing the PC version. As Level Cap has correctly noted, this sensitivity seems to be tied to the frame rate, and this is very, very bad indeed. But I don't think they'll actually redo the entire game engine and fix this issue on release. God knows COD has been using the same engine for years now, and I just don't think that is about to change. By the way, this isn't anything new, as games have done it plenty of times before, tied their mouse sensitivity to the frame rate. For example, Titanfall and Grand Theft Auto 5 do the same thing. They all tie their mouse sensitivity to the frame rate. That's why it's sometimes your mouse feels so glitchy and just very wrong, jumpy when your frame rate dips. But why is it bad, you might ask? Well, because the frame rate on PC fluctuates quite a bit, you see, unlike consoles where you're pretty much locked into whatever that console does, like 60 FPS for the Gen 4 consoles. Us PC elitists have, paid a lot of money for our video cards, and that are pretty much capable of a lot more, frames per second than that. So this means that when you look at the wall, say your FPS might skyrocket to 200, and when you are seeing several explosions and smoke and stuff like that, your frame rate might dip to, let's say, 30. Now, mine won't, of course, because I'm a PC master race, but let's say it does for our purposes, just to illustrate that there can be a big difference between frame rates. So the mouse becomes a lot more responsive to compensate for the lower FPS, and you run into a lot of trouble where aiming is just all over the place. It's jittery, it's glitchy, and it has different sensitivities at different times, and is very, very inconsistent, which is a big, big no-no in a game, in any FPS game, much less one with such low times to kill, kind of like Hardline would be. Now, everyone's been offering some sort of workaround for this problem online. Obviously, the fanboys have rightly whipped themselves up into a frenzy with this issue. A workaround Level Cap mentioned is to use the graphics menu to cap your FPS at a certain point, so you will get a more consistent mouse movement speed after finding whatever FPS your game is capable of and setting the max cap to that. Well, this is all fun and good, but it's actually a half measure, because Black Ops 3, you see, has a bugged FPS cap that allows the frame rate to go above it sometimes, thus leading to mouse glitching and jittering, which, leads us right back to where we started. Now, this might be tolerated on a console where a game comes in with auto aim, but this is a PC after all, and we don't have anything as luxurious or indeed childish as auto aim. And so what can you do? Well, a Redditor by the name of Ngai has suggested some tweaks, and I'll link to his post in the description, as this is his idea and not mine, and I won't take credit for it. But basically he says that you should set your resolution to whatever you like, obviously, max out your refresh rate to whatever your monitor can handle, set your screen resolution to 1, as that will equal to 1 to 1 screen resolution. So 0.5 would literally be half of what, let's say, 1920 by 1080 would be. So set your field of view to 90 as VPC elitists like. Don't use vertical sync, as that will just make your mouse feel very glitchy, as it will try to set 60 FPS, and maybe sometimes your computer will not be able to handle that. Set mesh quality to low to get a bit more FPS out of your game, to make it a bit more consistent. Set max FPS to unlimited and undo the dynamic shadows and such to get a higher frame rate and a more consistent mouse sensitivity, as I said. Now set your mouse sensitivity to your liking, and set your mouse filtering and your mouse acceleration to 0. Then, well, go back to your mouse settings and also see if the pointer precision is checked on, because for some people this might make the jittering issue worse and precise aiming pretty much impossible. Now, mouse acceleration was actually made for people that move their mouse inside their OS, on the desktop, and run out of mouse pad and have to lift up their mouse and reposition it again to get to this side of the screen, to move your mouse to the side of the screen. Outside the game, it's actually a very useful tool, but as we all know, inside an FPS game, it's literally Hitler. It's something that we all turn off as soon as we see that option inside the options screen, because in an FPS game, aiming is done precisely with the mouse, as we have no assist, because let's face it, we aren't playing on a shitty console. Another pretty big issue on the PC is flinching, and I'd imagine this problem also occurs on the consoles, but the auto aim should, take care of tiny variations there in, player position and aiming, for compensate for aiming. But since we don't have, auto aim on the PC, we aim kind of very precisely with the mouse, which is why we're all here, obviously. It's a lot more of a problem, and I'd imagine other games also suffer from it. It's probably a hit reg issue or a hitbox issue where, the player's character, the enemy's character, sort of moves very quickly to one side or the other, and the hitboxes either don't follow, or something happens with the hit registration, that you aim at the enemy and you are sure you're gonna hit him, but you actually don't do any damage, and that's basically flinching. And obviously it's made a lot worse by the above mentioned input lag, where your mouse is kind of not very precise in very small movements, and can get out of hand very quickly. So obviously, while Activision is running the show, COD will remain a pre-made, stamped out on a conveyor belt game. Just add money to see it grow, where none of these big issues will be fixed anytime in time for release, much less, giving out the betas for free, which is, just hilarious. Such dick move that I don't even have the words. So leave me a comment, guys. Tell me what you think of this whole mess, and thanks for watching. Please rate and share this video, that helps my channel grow. Check out my other videos at the end of this one, and remember, in Soviet Russia, YouTube subscribes you.